When I wake each morning before the rush of the world begins, I like to sit quietly with myself. The room is still, the air feels soft, and in that silence I imagine my mind as a small garden. Some mornings it is wild and tangled, filled with yesterday's worries, old memories, or the endless plans of tomorrow. Other mornings it feels empty, waiting for something to grow. I have learned that whatever I plant there with care and patience will shape the way I live the day ahead. Just as a farmer chooses seeds for the harvest he wants, I choose words to nurture the peace I wish to carry. They are not long speeches or complicated prayers, only simple phrases that hold deep meaning. Each one is like a gentle seed, waiting to take root. As I whisper them inwardly, I feel them settling into my heart, reminding me that serenity does not come from the outside world, but from the soil of the mind itself. This is where the practice begins. The first phrase I whisper to myself is, "I am here, I am alive." At first it might sound simple, almost ordinary, but when I breathe those words slowly, they open something inside me. I often forget the miracle of simply waking up, of having another sunrise to witness. My mind rushes ahead into schedules, unfinished work, and small worries, but when I pause and say, "I am here, I am alive," I feel the weight of those words. I notice the air moving in and out of my lungs, the steady rhythm of my heartbeat, the gentle warmth of life itself flowing through me. I remember once during a retreat in the mountains, a monk told me that the greatest gift is not wealth or wisdom, but the chance to breathe even one more time with awareness. His words seemed poetic then, but over the years I have come to see their truth. Each morning could have been my last, yet here I am, awake, alive, and capable of experiencing this moment. When I hold this phrase in my mind, I no longer take my existence for granted. As I repeat it, the noise of the outside world seems to fade. Even the thoughts that pull me toward the past or future lose their grip. I feel grounded, as though the earth itself is holding me steady. In that space, gratitude naturally rises. Suddenly, the simplest things, light through the window, the taste of water, the sound of a bird outside, become small celebrations of being alive. This first seed of serenity reminds me that life is not something I must chase. It is already here, waiting to be embraced in every breath. The second phrase I plant in my mind is, "May I meet this day with kindness." I have learned that no matter how carefully I plan, life has its own way of unfolding. Some days bring joy and ease, while others carry challenges I could never predict. But when I begin with this phrase, I prepare my heart for both. I remind myself that I cannot control every situation, yet I can always choose how I respond. There was a morning when I left home in a hurry, impatient and restless. Everything seemed to go wrong. The traffic was heavy, someone spoke to me harshly, and my mind boiled with irritation. Later that evening, as I reflected, I realized it wasn't the world that made my day heavy, but the way I carried myself through it. Since then, I started holding on to the seed of kindness. When I say the word slowly, I feel a softening in my chest, as if a door within me opens. Kindness does not mean weakness. It is the courage to meet anger with patience, to meet mistakes with understanding, to meet even my own flaws with gentleness. Sometimes the hardest person to show kindness to is myself. Yet when I repeat this phrase, I feel less like an enemy to my own being and more like a companion walking alongside myself. Throughout the day, the phrase lingers quietly. When a stranger frowns, I remember it. When work feels overwhelming, I remember it. And even when I stumble, I remember it. This seed, once planted in the morning, grows into a subtle strength that softens the sharp edges of the day. It teaches me that peace does not come from avoiding difficulties but from meeting them with a kind and open heart. The third phrase I whisper into my heart is, I let go of what I cannot hold. Each time I say it, I feel a quiet truth rise within me. So much of my suffering comes from clutching too tightly to things that were never mine to keep. I think of moments when I tried to hold on to people, to plans, even to fleeting feelings of happiness, only to feel pain when they slipped away. Life, I have come to realize, is like a flowing river. The more I try to grab the water in my hands, the quicker it runs through my fingers. But if I open my palms, I can feel the coolness, I can enjoy its presence even though it never stays. I remember once losing something very dear to me, something I believed I could not live without. At first I fought against it, clinging to memories, replaying moments, wishing I could change the past. But the tighter I held on, the heavier my heart became. Only when I whispered this phrase did I begin to loosen my grip. It did not erase the sadness, but it softened it, allowing me to breathe again. Now, each morning when I repeat these words, I practice releasing. Not only the big attachments, but the small ones too. I let go of yesterday's mistakes, of words I wish I hadn't said, of expectations that pressed too hard on my chest. In that release, I discover lightness, as if a burden has quietly lifted. Letting go does not mean I stop caring. It means I allow life to move as it must. This seed of serenity teaches me that peace is not found in possession, but in acceptance. And the more I practice, the freer I feel, as though my heart has learned to breathe with the rhythm of impermanence. The fourth phrase I carry into my morning is, gratitude is my ground. When I breathe those words, I feel my mind settle, as if I am planting my feet firmly on the earth. Gratitude is not about ignoring difficulties or pretending life is perfect. It is about seeing clearly what is already here and bowing to it with a gentle heart. Some mornings I wake restless, already thinking of what is missing. Tasks unfinished, goals unmet, dreams still far away. But when I pause and repeat this phrase, I remember that even in this imperfect moment, there is so much to be thankful for. I think of the warmth of my bed, the air filling my lungs, the chance to begin again. I recall the faces of people I love, the meals I have tasted, the kindnesses I have received, often in small and quiet ways. Once, during a visit to a monastery, I noticed how the monks gave thanks even before drinking a single sip of water. They bowed to the glass as if it were the rarest gift. That simple act touched me deeply. Since then, I try to see each ordinary thing in my life as extraordinary. When I hold on to gratitude, the weight of envy and comparison begins to fade. I no longer chase after what others have, because I see how much has already been given to me. Gratitude softens the hard places in my heart. It turns even challenges into teachers, reminding me that every moment, whether joyful or difficult, can nourish my spirit if I welcome it. This seed of serenity reminds me that no matter how uncertain life feels, I always stand on solid ground. When I choose to be grateful, and from that ground, peace naturally begins to bloom. The fifth phrase I offer to myself each morning is, peace begins with a single breath. These words remind me that serenity is never far away. It lives in the simple act of inhaling and exhaling with awareness. Too often, I forget to notice my own breathing. I rush through the day as if peace is something to be achieved in the future, hidden behind accomplishments or milestones. But the moment I pause and return to my breath, I realize peace is already here, waiting quietly within me. There was a time when I believed that inner calm could only come after solving all My problems after life finally became easy. But life never unfolded that neatly. The problems changed, but they never truly ended. One day, sitting beneath a tree, I closed my eyes and simply followed my breath. Inhale, exhale. The world outside was noisy, but inside, there was space. That was the first time I truly understood the meaning of this phrase. Now every morning when I repeat these words, I feel myself arriving in the present. My shoulders soften, my heartbeat slows, and my thoughts become lighter. Even on difficult days when anxiety stirs or impatience rises, I remind myself, peace is only one breath away. It is not something I must chase. It is something I can return to again and again in any moment. This final seed of serenity teaches me that the path to peace is not complicated. It begins small with the breath I am taking now. And as I carry this seed into my day, I know that no matter how turbulent the world becomes, I hold within me a quiet refuge, a sanctuary built one mindful breath at a time. As I come to the end of my morning reflection, I look back at the 5 seeds I have planted within myself. The awareness that I am here and alive, the intention to meet the day with kindness, the courage to let go of what I cannot hold, the grounding of gratitude, and the reminder that peace begins with a single breath. Each phrase is small, almost fragile, yet I have seen how even the smallest seed can grow into something strong and lasting when given attention. These words are not magic, but they guide me like gentle lanterns through the uncertain paths of the day.